You would have received in your booklet information on the Bermuda Football Coaches Association. You would recall that 2 years ago, at this very same Congress, the Congress elected to award the Bermuda Football Coaches Association associate membership. It was also known via our statutes, our Constitution, that they were, as provisional members, they were to be observed by the association in the manner to which they comply with the regulations of the association as well as their own aims and objectives as stated in their Constitution. The Executive Committee has reviewed the Bermuda Football Coaches Association over this last 2-year period. You would also know that they have been active participants in our Congress meetings, and therefore, based on the observation and the manner in which the Bermuda Football Coaches Association has conducted themselves over this 2-year period, the Executive Committee proposes to the Congress to consider voting the Bermuda Football Coaches Association as full members of the Bermuda Football Association. Does anyone have any questions or have any comments prior to turning it back over to the President?
Okay, at this time. Sorry. Yes, please.
Anyone applying for full membership, can they apply for full membership right from the beginning? Become a full member, a club, organization, anything, or?
The answer to your question is no, because it is laid out in the Constitution exactly what that process is. It's provisional membership for 2 years, and only at 2 years can they be considered for full membership.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept or confirm, the Bermuda Football Coaches Association as a full member of the Bermuda Football Association Congress. Proposed by North Fields Community Club and seconded by Western Star Sports Club. All those in favor, please signify by raising your green voting card in your left hand. Thank you. For completion's sake, any abstentions? At this point, I'd like to congratulate and welcome the Bermuda Football Coaches Association as a full member of the Bermuda Football Association Congress.
On behalf of the Bermuda Football Coaches Association, we greatly appreciate the support shown by the Congress in favor of our full membership of the association. We look forward to continuing the important work with regards to coach education. We have a pretty busy period that is coming up with 3 main events. The first being the next UEFA B course that is scheduled to begin on February the 15th with Donald Park from the Scottish Football Association arriving on island. There will be up to 12 local candidates participating in that course, and 15 candidates arriving from North America who will be participating jointly in the course alongside our Bermuda candidates. March the 2nd, we'll be hosting our first annual fundraiser. Very important in terms of raising support to continue to provide these coaching education initiatives. Most of the clubs will be aware that Gerard Houllier is coming on island for a weekend of events. We will be sending out communication to the clubs this weekend via the BFA with regards to information on the tickets and asking for you to support by sending out to your members. The money that's raised from this event again goes directly back to supporting the Coach Association, which underwrites a huge cost related to coaching education, which ultimately benefits your clubs and then football in general throughout Bermuda. Thirdly, the next C license course will begin on March the 15th. Registration, March the 6th. Registration will begin this week. We will send again that information out through the BFA. I would just like to reiterate with the impending standards for coaching with regards to being implemented in the coming fall, that it is important that clubs look at those coaches who currently do not meet the criteria and try to ensure that they get out to the course so that you're not faced with a situation when those regulations come into play and you have coaches who are not able to actively be coaching your teams. I would also suggest to the clubs to be proactive, because we never know at what time a coach, you lose a coach, he leaves the island, he departs, you need to find a replacement coach. And we'd like to encourage every club to look within the ranks of their senior coaches and senior players and identify 2 candidates to go on and take the course. That way, in the event that when you require a coach, you have a pool of coaches who are readily available. It is important for us to gauge the numbers quite quickly as to who needs to attend the course, how many, because then we can prepare and we need to look to see how many candidates will be in the course, and if it is a huge number, do we need to then look at offering a second course. Okay, so again, those communications will be forthcoming from the association this coming week. Again, thank you very much.
Also in your booklet, you would have received some details with respect to Vasco da Gama's interest in also rejoining the association. I don't think that I need to go over all of the information. Perhaps it may be best that I open the floor for any questions or comments that you may have prior to the president asking for a decision.
Mr. Stars?
In reference in the past, how it's been done, has Vasco established or complied to standards that they have to meet in order to become an associate first and again down the road to become full member?
I'm hopeful that the information you would have received would answer the question of compliance with the criteria, which is really speaks to the constitutional requirements, and also we went a step further in discussions with them to align themselves up also with some of the club licensing criteria, even though they are not subjected to that at this present moment. But it is a good idea that they start understanding if they are to become a part of this organization, then they should also be aware of the things that they need to be in compliance with, such as everyone else. In further answering the question, the executive committee has examined the documentation submitted, which I hope we have provided a snapshot of that in this information to you. And as a result, is comfortable in making the submission to you for your consideration.
Dr. Coach?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. In past submissions, we have actually gotten a list or names of the various people from executive, we had a head coach, and we will request send him throughout to see what his potential roster looks like. In theory, he's going down to Chicago. It's actually another issue with him joining the league or they feel uncomfortable in saying yes, because this information is missing. Because in previous meetings, once we saw the list of some officers and names, we had issues with should they be added in the coup. So I respect you, if you guys have vetted it, but if you want us to actually make a decision, I think that information is important for us to consider. So that's what you put that in.
It's a very good question, Mr. Jones. And of course, for your information, I will provide, and I could also back it up with an email tomorrow if that would be sufficient. But I will read you the list of their executive members. The president is Mr. Hugo Miguel Pereira. The vice president is Mr. Paul Franco. The secretary is Ricardo Ponte. Ponte? And the treasurer is Mr. Edward Correa. They have submitted their full constitution, and they have indicated when they had their last annual general meeting, which was on October the 21st, 2017, at 8 p.m. at the Vasco da Gama.
Mr. President, on that list that you just called out, one of those players is a registered player for Frederick Community Football Club. Also, is this the first or second application by Vasco to join the PFA? I would say it would be the second, because we had discussions, I believe, last year, and I do think it may fall within this 12-month period to be applying. So am I correct?
So Vasco actually did apply last year, but it was too late for us to present it to Congress. So this is the same application, so it hasn't been forward to Congress.
So why did we go through that exercise?
So as they wrote in around or about August of last year, and their intent was to enter last season, and we were unable to get that recommendation to the Congress in time for last season. So we advised them that we will present this Congress with the intention of, if the recommendation is accepted, they can enter into the league next season. It's the same application. Yeah, that's probably it. One other point, I think it was discussed at your president's meeting.
Would that have been on
No, it was discussed because the BFA asked us to meet them. Asked the presidents to meet them. Because they want to start last year. They want to get in the league last year.
Correct, they wanted to get in the league last year. No,
and we discussed this around March of last year. Yes, it was. With Vasco. They met us at 8 o'clock.
Okay, so even if it was March of last year, no recommendation would have been able to be made to the Congress.
But why did you recommend them to come talk to us?
Sorry?
Why did you?
I'll take your point. Let me explain. If it was March last year, perhaps you're correct, no recommendation would have been able to be made to the Congress before the start of 2017-2018 season. So there was a recommendation for them to talk to the presidents, to gauge your temperature with the intent of recommending this Congress so that, if accepted, they will be brought into the league for the 2018-2019 season. So this is the first official recommendation of Vasco.
But that's not what their intent, what they thought they was doing last year. They thought they'd be able to enter last year, starting this season.
Yes.
That's what they had the feelings from you, as that they will be able to start last year.
And we advised them that that wouldn't be possible because it had to be presented to Congress. Congress is held in September, the season starts in August. So they were advised that they would not be able to be accepted for the 2017-2018 season. Hence, we scheduled the recommendation to take place tonight.
So you must have advised them after we had talked to them, because they sat with us and said that you sent it to us to see if we will be willing to allow them into the league last year.
Correct, but you couldn't make that decision in the presidency. That
Huh?
had to be
No.
presented to the Congress.
You sent it to me so that we can make the decision when it came up or when they go to.
No, that's
But
to gauge- that was to gauge
if they
the
were
before
in
it
time
was
last,
right.
you shouldn't have sent it to they come meet the president anyhow.
Okay, so.
Because
just
they had
clarify.
intent, they thought they'd be able to come to the league last year. That's what they told us.
Just
That
to
you said
clarify,
too.
Just to clarify, in order for them to be accepted into the BFA league.
I know all
Congress
that.
has to accept it. I know you know that, yeah? So we are making that recommendation now, and now is the time for you to make that decision. Notwithstanding
Well,
what's
we don't have to,
transpired,
if we don't make a motion,
the
then
rest
we don't have to
of
make
the
no decision now. If we don't make no motion.
We missed a player from Paget. I used the word actively registered.
Right, understood.
I think also in this vein, we have to be very mindful that this is just a snapshot. Today, we have to be very vigilant in what happens during the registration process. But there's also another point, and that is, if the decision is to allow them as provisional members, not associate, but provisional members, meaning over the next 2 years, we are watching, or we are watching exactly how they conduct themselves. And I'm sure that if you arrive back at this venue for the Congress, that will be part of the presentation for whether they are moved forward to full membership.
And contributed richly, I believe, to the traditions that have been established through the years in the history within the association. So every club goes through phases, and they made a decision that they had to go away from having a team, but they should be welcomed back if they're at this point now to resume full active membership within the association.
Thank you so far for the contributions. I would like to say, as part of the dialogue leading up to this moment, was we had open and frank discussion with the Vasco representatives regarding the history, right? An interesting point you raised, Richard, in regards to the history. And some have a history lesson on this side of the fence, and others have a history, remembrance of history on the other side. And one of the conversations was, listen, there has to be an understanding going forward that you are growing our sport, right? And they understood that. They understood what the past represented to a number of clubs. But that's the past, right? That's the past. And what we're doing going forward is encouraging them to not revisit what was the assumption, because I wasn't president of the club, but the assumption of enticing people to come and play for the club through means, through other means. And that, okay, is a right, because there is nothing prohibitive in the laws. There's nothing prohibited in the laws and regulations that there can be financial or other salaries cover the costs of various aspects in football, for your participation in football. Right? So that's not, the association cannot write in its regulations and policies freedom of association. You can't write. We have an open registration and release and registration period. And everyone complies with that in accordance with the rules that govern amateur football on the field. So, yes, we're mindful. They are mindful. They have written a declaration in terms of how they intend to operate. And should it be the decision of the Congress, they have 2 years to prove, to show to you that they are, in some regards, operating like everyone else places sports, whatever that means, but in accordance with the association rules and regulations. Yeah.
But two significant things happening tonight in Congress. What would you say to the two members coming in? It's been a long time since we had two come in.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And it just shows a bit of growth. Our coaches now have a voice, a voting voice, in the actual Congress, which is significant. And we welcome them with open arms, and we're looking for their input now at the conference level. Of course, they had input through the Player Development Committee for the last 2 years, but now they have a voice, they have a vote, and have input at the Congress level, which is another step, I believe, in the evolution of Bermuda Football Association. As far as Vasco da Gama is concerned, I'm happy it was a robust discussion, but I'm happy that we are embracing all facets of our community and culturally diverse community that we do have. So, we can turn back the clock a little bit and have Vasco now participate in our leagues, and hopefully adding a bit of intrigue into the first division first, and then the Premier Division after. So we're looking forward to that as well.
Now, this is one of the first, or if not the first time, you've allowed the media in to witness what goes on and capture the moments. Is that a significant movement forward for the Bermuda Football Association?
Sure. I mean, you mentioned significant events, and I think that's very significant. I think that's a trifecta of significant events. Having the media in the Congress is a step, and I think leading the way in Bermuda. It's been a year in process. If we can have the media in a FIFA Congress, why can't we have it at the BFA Congress? And it also speaks to the fact that we want to be transparent. We want to be more transparent. And welcoming too. I think we've been transparent, but I think now we're a little bit more welcoming, and the media can put its own speak on it, for lack of a better word. So exciting, I think, very exciting for me. It was one of the things that I discussed with at the President's Forum. One of the first things I discussed with them, and we talked about how football has matured, how executives have matured. So it follows that the BFA Congress has to mature and evolve.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing the media in. It actually gives the public a different view of when they hear clubs complaining about the BFA, when it's the clubs that make most of the decisions, as we would have witnessed tonight.
Sure. This is it's almost like the media being allowed inside the changing room. This is where the work gets done. And yes, it's the Congress that certainly makes all the decisions that the executive carry out. The Congress are, for lack of a better term, they are our bosses. They are who we report to, and they are who elect us. And so the public will have seen tonight, and we will see snippets of tonight, where the Congress has robust discussion. And then things come down to a vote. And most of the time, I believe that the Congress comes to the right decisions.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.